Alright, I've got some pretty great news for Dead Island fans, and no, it doesn't have anything to do with Dead Island 2. At this point, I've pretty much lost all hope for that game, so no, instead, I'm here to talk about Dying Light 2 and how it channels so much Dead Island energy. I'm sure most of you watching know this, but I'm just going to get it out of the way real quick just in case some people don't know. Dead Island was originally developed by Techland, and it was published by Deep Silver in 2011. Same deal with Dead Island Riptide in 2013, it was developed by Techland and published by Deep Silver. After Riptide, Techland has had pretty much nothing to do with Deep Silver or the Dead Island franchise, and instead they moved on to partner with Warner Brothers and released Dying Light in 2015. Those of you who have played Dead Island will know that it's very RPG focused. In fact, I remember it being referred to as Borderlands with zombies. Back when it released, it had enemy health bars, damage numbers, a crafting system with different elemental weapon mods, a bunch of side quests, different weapon and loot rarities, an enemy and player leveling system with 3 different skill trees to build your character in different areas, and visceral first-person melee combat. All of which were pretty refreshing additions to the oversaturated zombie genre, especially all in one game. Dying Light took the formula of Dead Island and improved upon it by refining the mechanics and adding a whole new parkour system with vertical level design. But what Dying Light also did was strip back some of the cartoony RPG elements in favor of a more realistic horror survival game approach. And this worked quite well. The RPG mechanics were still there, but the tone and the visuals had shifted in a different direction. Fast forward to 2021, and it looks like Techland have gone back to their roots and reintroduced an RPG-focused approach in Dying Light 2. Enemy levels and health bars are back, which has a lot of people concerned, and fair enough. At first glance, this does look like a big step away from the beloved experience of Dying Light. I personally don't mind it that much, but that's because Dead Island has a very special place in my heart. But I don't think it's unreasonable at all to want to remove it, and the best thing that Techland can do here is allow players to customize the heads-up display to their liking. One valid concern, however, is that if you disable the enemy heads-up display, you won't be able to see the level of the enemy that you're fighting, which theoretically could lead to you getting absolutely destroyed. But I don't think that's going to be the case. If you've played Dead Island, you'll know that the enemies level up as you do, and can be anywhere within the range from a couple of levels lower than you to a couple of levels higher, nothing extreme on either end. It's not like World of Warcraft, where you can be questing in one zone and then accidentally stumble into enemies in another zone that are 5 times your level. In Dead Island, you don't notice the zombies getting any stronger. You only notice your weapons getting weaker, so it gives you that sense of urgency to upgrade your weapons and progress, and I personally like that. In Dead Island Co-op, players get a prompt when joining your game to select whether they want the zombies to be their own level or the same level as the host, and this works really well, just like a customizable HUD would, because it leaves the choice up to the player. Overall, the zombie level system in Dead Island is really seamless, and if Dying Light 2 is going to be anything like it, which I have good reason to believe it will be, you don't have anything to worry about. The game will still be rather well balanced. And if I'm being honest, I don't really like how in Dying Light, once I have the right equipment and the right levels, the right skills, that I'm just super overpowered now, and even killing volatiles becomes a bit of a joke. I'm hoping that this enemy level system means that enemies will always be able to put up a decent fight, no matter how much I progress. Although it is worth noting that there are different difficulty levels that you can select in Dying Light 2. Also, just a random side note, but they've replaced the minimap with a compass, and I'm not too sure how I feel about it. But it's not a big deal, it still shows you everything you need to know, it's just a bit of a change. Now, before I get into this next section, I've got to make a disclaimer that I'm not allowed to show you the inventory menu or the skill tree menu because it's still a work in progress, but I can describe the key details to you without revealing everything. The blueprint crafting system is back, and weapons can be upgraded a couple of times in a somewhat similar way to Dead Island, where you have elemental modifications and separately you have general stats upgrades as well, and Dying Light did do this, although they did it a bit differently, where, confusingly, they put damage upgrade items in the game and named them mods, like the King mod, for example. Dying Light 2's approach reminds me a little bit more of Dead Island, but they've gone even more in depth by adding specific upgrade slots for each weapon. The specific example I've seen is on a homemade blade, where you can upgrade the blade itself, and you can upgrade the handle separately. And there's also a third slot known as the charm socket. And I'm not really sure at this point what that does. I imagine it will generally boost your damage, like the King mods in Dying Light, or maybe it'll have some kind of miscellaneous effect, but seems that weapons so far have 3 slots. There's the blade, there's the handle, and there's the charm socket. Regardless, you'll still be able to upgrade your handmade weapons, which, by the way, remind me a lot of the handmade weapons of Dead Island Epidemic. Rest in peace. Now, one huge new thing that they've introduced in Dying Light 2 is an armor system. In Dying Light 1, you can change your entire outfit, but you can't customize individual pieces of clothing and whatnot, and what you wear doesn't affect your performance in the game. I think the only example of an outfit that does have some kind of effect is the ninja outfit, where it makes your footsteps silent for the player, but it doesn't actually make your footsteps silent, like enemies can still hear you, for instance. And in Dead Island, you can't customize your appearance at all, except for like a little DLC pack in Riptide, but we don't talk about that. In Dying Light 2, you have 6 different armor slots: head, torso, hands, legs, feet, and forearm? I'm just gonna say braces. I always know this like from fantasy RPGs as braces. So you can customize your braces, pants, gloves, shoes, shirt or your hoodie or jacket or whatever, and your mask or goggles. Now, this is already a huge step for the Dying Light franchise. People have been asking to customize specific clothing items for years, but it gets even better. These clothing items increase your player stats, just like a traditional armor system in most RPGs. This armor can affect your defense, one-handed damage, two-handed damage, health regeneration, and things like that. Keep in mind that there could be more effects that we just haven't seen yet as well. And these armor items do have a rarity system, just like weapons, so you can get grey tier, green tier, blue tier, purple tier. I haven't seen orange or gold tier armor, but I have seen gold tier weapons, so I'm assuming you can get gold armor as well. Guys, I don't know if you're as excited about this as I am, but I think this is so awesome. This is proper immersive RPG shit. And this also means that when your buddies join you in co-op, they're not gonna look just like you. Because even if you were wearing different outfits, you are still very clearly Kyle Crane. And if in co-op we're all gonna be Aiden Caldwell, at least we'll all be unique versions, mixing and matching different pieces of armor, as opposed to, you know, just wearing the same preset outfits. Oh man. I love RPGs, so this is just so cool to me. But anyway, I'll talk about the skill trees real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this up. In Dead Island, you have 3 skill trees: Fury, Combat, and Survival. You also have 5 different playable characters in total, so each of them have their own customized skill tree. You'd kill enemies, complete quests, and earn XP to spend in these skill trees. Pretty straightforward. In Dying Light, there are 3 different leveling systems. There's your survivor level, your agility level, and your power level, with each of those having their own respective skill trees. Rather than simply earning XP and spending your points wherever you like in Dead Island, each leveling system comes with its own type of XP. So your survivor level increases kind of like Dead Island, just from gaining XP in general, from completing quests and whatnot, and your agility increases from using parkour moves, and your combat level, your power level, increases from bonking people on the head. And then in 2016, when Techland released the Dying Light the Following expansion, they introduced a driver skill tree and a legend level system, but we won't go into the details on those. Dying Light 2 seems to be quite similar, in that the agility and power trees are still there, and you still level them up in the same ways, but the survivor tree is nowhere to be seen. Now at first this may seem a little bit strange, but it does make sense when you consider the fact that you can upgrade your character through the armor and weapon upgrade systems, and you unlock different gadgets and traps from progressing through the main story and siding with different factions. Not only that, but throughout the game there are these items you can find called inhibitors, which are drugs made by the GRE. In the same menu screen as the skill tree, you can redeem 3 inhibitors to upgrade either your health or your stamina. The choice is yours. Regardless of which one you choose, redeeming the inhibitors each time will also increase your immunity level, which gives you more time in between applications of the items in game that prevent you from turning. And that's the overview of how Dying Light 2 channels the energy of Dead Island while still staying true to the Dying Light experience. Now I do understand that people have mixed feelings about some of these features because they don't want to be reminded of RPGs when playing a Dying Light game, But here's the thing, Dying Light 2 is an RPG. It's an open world RPG with factions and game-changing choices, but it just so happens to also have zombies, parkour, and a general horror theme. But no matter which way you cut it, it's still an RPG at its core. Although hopefully players do get the chance to customize their heads-up display elements like health bars for instance, just so players can immerse themselves in a more realistic horror experience if that's what they're looking for. Anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for the support on my recent content, by the way. It's amazing to be back. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Look out for more content for Dying Light 2.